You know, Casey loses a lot of games here on the Jackson Cloud.
But that means he's winning in heaven.
Ouch, guys. That hurts.
We're an online church. Let's see Casey lose again today here on the Jackson Cloud.
We're not wrong.
Today we are gonna play The Mind. Here's how it works.
You just broke your guitar.
There are 100 cards. 100 cards. Olivia shuffled them. Now, we are on level 1 right now. So I'm going to have each of us just draw one card. You cannot say a word. You cannot hint to anyone what they should do. We have one card from 1 through 100, and we have to play them in order. So you know that there's 100, you know like where you are on that scale, and you have to hope that when you play it, that like you should have played it.
Right.
If we mess up, we lose a life. Right now we only have 3 lives. So, here we go. Ready? No hinting to anyone. You just play. It's all connecting our minds. Here we go. Now.
Who's going first?
That's the question.
Whoever's just gonna go for it.
Oh. Is that a motion?
It is. He's cheating.
Dang it, I'm trying
Just
not to.
connect your minds. Hey, okay, so we did it. 32, 86, 91. Round
You were
1.
probably worried about the 86.
I was worried about it.
But I'm like, there's not the probability of you having under my 91 was
9 out of 100.
9 out of 100.
All right, we now move on to level 2, and since we're at level 2, we get an extra throwing star.
Yeah.
Remember, if we all agree we're going to use a throwing star, we each get rid of the lowest card in our hand.
But now do we all get 2 cards then?
Yes, the game gets harder. In the mind, here we go. Ready? A go. So my 49 is done because you skipped it. We lose 1 life. If you're above 56, you put it out so you have a card left, right?
Correct.
All right. That was good. Okay, so
Had to make sure all our cards were out of the hands.
we made it.
I
we
went
lost a
slow
life.
because I was trying.
We lost a life.
Give you a chance.
I forgot what my other card was. Maybe I should look at it.
Pay attention, Jamin.
Remember
You put
how
it
slow
down.
I was?
So
You
for
put it
level
down,
3, do we get a new life
We
back?
do get an extra life for level 3.
Yay.
We need to get to level 10, which means each one of us would have 10 cards. I've never
Oh,
beaten. Yeah,
boy.
I've never beaten this game. I'm not entirely sure it's possible. So
This is like that game where everyone has to like say a letter of the alphabet or like a number. You have to count in order, but you can't speak at the same time as someone else, and every time you have to start over.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And begin.
That was the easiest thing to do, I think.
Dang it, David!
I wasn't thinking about. All right, we lost one life because you were one beyond. Just one beyond. All right. Level 4. We made it further than I thought we would.
And we don't get anything new for level 4.
Yeah, but for the first time for ever playing, we're doing okay. Ready? Go.
No!
What were you doing? Where were you ahead of me? Dang it.
That's
Okay, so they lost a life. Does anybody have anything under that?
No.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let's not count that because I had it. Hey, all right. Look at this. We're getting somewhere. All right.
Once again.
Level 5. We have all 3 stars. We probably want to use them.
Since we only have one life left.
So, like, the idea would be if you really think you should go first, go first. But as soon as, like, we're paused, we should probably think of getting rid of one. Because the next level, we get another life. All right. I guess we're commencing. Ninja start.
Let's do it.
Everybody get rid of your lowest card.
Do we see them?
Yep. Ooh, it's a good thing I did that with those 2. Oh no! We got to level 5 and lost. Good game.
Yeah, because I was like, this is really close, but if you're that aggressive, I think you're the next number. But then you were...
No.
Yeah.
I was like, you look like you're waiting for something, so you're close, but you're not that close. I'm quite close, so...
And that is the
dropped a
mind.
card.
We managed to get to level 5 before we died. We're going to try this again tomorrow, see if now that we've synced with one another.
Well, Friday.
Friday, yeah. We're going to try this again Friday, see if now that we've synced with one another, if we can get past level 5. Tune in then to find out.
Damon loses all of our lives once again.
Hey,
Technically, I did lose the last one.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
yeah, shut up. Okay, as we have mentioned before, the disciples were a bunch of noobs. I mean, they constantly,
Straight up.
they constantly do things where you're like, oh, you guys are missing the point. But then again, when you look at the points that they miss, like it's the same thing that Christians miss today constantly. And so, like, we're all a bunch of noobs, I guess is what I'm saying.
To
But
live is to noob.
All right, now we
that's
have
our
to give
next
it...
shirt. Jackson Cloud. To live is to noob.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say that we should throw out a definition of what noob is for those who aren't nerds like us.
Newbie. Does that pretty much do it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so there's a lot of moments where the disciples think that they are awesome and powerful, and to some extent, they are powerful and have the ability to be awesome, you know. But for Jesus, who is the most powerful and the most awesome, he constantly spends his time making himself low. What are some ways in which he does that? There's lots of examples in the Bible.
Washing feet.
You said it first. You don't get it.
I get the point.
You have to prove you know more Bible. Washing feet would be one of the mega ones.
That's the
why.
big
That's
one.
why it came.
It's like the best example of it.
I got another one.
Yeah.
Riding in on a donkey.
There you go. Yeah, sure. So rather than coming on a majestic war horse with armor all over it and things like
Shiny.
that, he's coming in on a, like there's.
I mean, have you tried to ride donkeys? That's probably not fun.
Yeah, it would be different. Any others? I should probably prove that I know one.
Yeah.
Wait.
I've come up with 2.
Okay, so you need 2 too. It's a war. Who gets the most?
I mean, taking his cross?
Don't get another point. You already have points.
But
sure.
Fine.
So Jesus completely not only becomes humble, but humiliates, right? Himself, taking on a cross. Just the fact that this is God himself putting on flesh, that's humility, right? He's stepping into, I mean, throughout all religions, the gods cared nothing about humans. If anything, the narrative they told was, we made humanity to take care of us, and we don't care about them. They're our slaves. And then here's God, ultimately, who's like, just to save them from all their sin, which they don't need, like, they don't deserve to be saved for their sin. But just to save them from their sin, I'm going to become human, lower myself to the lowest state imaginable, and then save them. You know, like that's ultimate humility right there. That sets our God, Yahweh, like completely apart from all the other
I got
gods.
another one.
Yeah. What?
Being born in a stable?
I mean, I said he was born, but sure, yeah.
No, you said he took on human flesh. You didn't say he was
which means he
born.
was born. But yeah, he's born in not just a stable, but his bed is a feeding trough, right?
Which I've swum in one of those, and it's weird.
You swam in a feeding trough?
Mm-hmm. It was when I was in Kansas. It was weird.
That doesn't make it make any more sense, man. It was Kansas, so we all get it.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
And I've heard that 20,000 times.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
He didn't have a swimming pool, okay?
he's born into a family that doesn't have a place to stay, so he's in there. He doesn't seem to be loaded. He's not walking around with money. He's hanging out with the people that you wouldn't hang out with. He's judged all the time for the crowd that he takes on. He touches people that are considered unclean, which could turn him, not only make him sick himself, but turn him into a social outcast between religious folk and just other people in general, you know? So humility is like, it's all over the place. And yet the disciples never seem to catch on to this. And one of the passages that we were going to look at today is essentially where they're talking with each other about which of them is the greatest. In Mark 9, anybody want to read it?
And when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you discussing on the way?" But they kept silent, for on the way they had argued with one another about who was the greatest. And he sat down and called the 12, and he said to them, "If anyone would be first, he must be last of all the servants of all."
Must be last of all and servant of all.
Ah, okay. "He must be last of all and servant of all." And he took a child and put him in the midst of them, and taking him in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me."
Yeah, so this, when you're reading it, I never thought of it this way, but it reminds me of me with my kids. I'll hear my kids talking about something, and it'll disappoint me sometimes if it's like, "Oh, guys, you got better character than that." And I'll be like, "Becca, Jericho, what are you talking about?" I'll be like, "Nothing." "No, just tell me what you're talking about." I already know what they're talking about. I'm like, "We weren't talking about it." Or they'll tell me something else, that they weren't talking about. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what Jesus has going on with his kids right here. The disciples like, "Guys, what are you talking about?" "Nothing." And what shows you, like, the disciples aren't completely dense. They understand, like, they shouldn't be talking about which one of them's better than the other.
I mean, they're just mostly dense.
Yeah. They're at least smart enough to know, like, don't answer that. Shut up, Peter.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. But they're arguing, like, which one of us is going to be the best. And then Jesus, who shows us all throughout his life, as we've already discussed, that the point is to be humble, that the first will become last, and that, like Casey in losing all these games, he is first in heaven, though last on the Jackson Cloud. These are examples. Like Jesus shows over and over again. Like it's all about humility. It's all about serving one another, loving one another. It's not about making yourself great or powerful or awesome. Even the disciples, when they can't find a place to stay, at the beginning of the gospel, Jesus can't find a place to stay, so he's born in a stable. And that's part of the beauty of his story.
He starts out homeless.
Yeah, the disciples, when they can't find a place to stay, they're like, should we call down fire from heaven, Jesus, and burn this place down to the ground? And Jesus is just like, no, let's just go to the next town. It's like these are like the disconnect, right? Born in a stable because they can't find an inn, burn the inn down because they can't find an inn. Like that's...
Wait, if they can't find an inn, how would burning it down help?
They found the inn, but they won't let them in, so they want to burn it down with fire from
So
heaven.
the inn won't let them in?
No, are you just saying that because it rhymes?
Yep.
I know him so well. Anyways,
if it's called an inn, they should let people in.
yeah, I got it. Thank you. Anyways, the disciples show here that they don't get it. And so Jesus grabs a little kid who, kids were also treated kind of like the bottom.
Now,
Well,
quick
yeah,
question.
they're gross.
Where did he get this kid from?
That's what I was wondering. They're just like, and then this kid that's with them.
And, oh, hey, you. Psh, kabah.
They were probably walking around. We talked before that there's crowds everywhere when Jesus is around. I wouldn't be surprised if, hey, kid, come over here. I heard my disciples over in the corner while I was preaching to everybody, talking about who's the best. This kid's the best. This kid! It's like... but kids were kind of like the bottom of the household to some extent. Apparently because they're gross, according to Olivia.
I'm saying, at this time, hygiene isn't people's first priority. Running showers didn't exist yet. And kids get into a lot of gross stuff.
Okay, it wasn't where I was going with this.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It was more that I was thinking they're kind of treated like property by their families. Because they like the cultural place of a child in Greek and Jewish society was that they weren't sentimental about children. Like us, it's like, I want my kids to have the best life ever and get them into all the sports and dance and anything that they want. The world is theirs. That's the way that a lot of parents today treat their kids. First off, they had high infant mortality rates.
Yep.
Just think about, both of my kids were C-sections. Like Beckett's head was too big. Like he would have never come out, which means without modern science, both Beckett and my wife would have died just from a natural
Common
thing. So I'd be dead, Casey would be dead. Were you a C-section?
No.
So,
Olivia
you're just better than everyone, aren't you? So.
She'd be the only one alive.
But this is an example of today, we are less used to facing all of the things that could go wrong because of all the modern science we have. Back then, that wasn't the case. So, kids were there's a high infant mortality rate.
You had lots of kids because not all of them would survive.
Yeah. And they had a great demand for human labor on the kids. Today we have rules like kids can't work at a certain age or...
Yeah, they can't work from 8 to 14 for 12-hour days.
Yeah. So, that's the way that we treat kids. No, you won't make kids do any work. But for them, kids were the human labor to get the work done. They were completely dependent upon their fathers. So when Jesus picks up this kid in his arms and tells everyone to receive this kid in his name, it's basically saying whoever welcomes the little ones and the insignificant ones, the lowest in the household, the humble, the meek, the way down the social ladder, when you accept people like that, then you've accepted me, which tracks with Jesus' usual message, right? Is when you clothe the naked and feed the hungry and give water to the thirsty, and
The least of these.
yeah, whatever you do to the least of these, you've done to me. It's the same story with this kid. You take care of this kid, you took care of me. Like, so constantly Jesus points us back to take care of the lowly, because Jesus himself has made himself lowly. And if we're going to act like we're all that in a bag of potato chips, then we are not imaging God to the rest of the world. We're imaging the false gods to the rest of the world, who have always treated others that way. So. We talked a lot about humility today. Let us know, when was a time that you found God humbling you? You can join our community and chat about that and a whole lot more. Add your prayer requests, whatever you'd like, on our Discord channel. You'll find the link to that down in the information of this video. So make sure you join us for an online church experience here on the Jackson Cloud, and then you can comment, like, subscribe, and learn a whole lot more through all of our podcasts and beyond at jacksoncloud.com.